I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We shall call the meeting to order. And the first order of business, public announcements. Details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. The state primary, state referendum, and Fairfield's annual town budget meeting referendum, and MSAD number 49 school budget validation referendum elections will be held at the community center on July 14th, 2020. Absentee ballots are available and may be requested in advance via fairfieldme.com and returned via town office drop box during office hours. Second order of business is public hearings, and we have none. The third order of business is public comments, which is limited 3-minute, equivalent to public speaking. Members of the public may email comments for council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. day of the meeting on any topic or agenda item. Items may be read aloud at this time. There is none. Reports from staff and committee. Town managers report.
Good evening. So last month on June 25th, I attended the First Park General Assembly meeting. Unfortunately, there wasn't a quorum that evening for us to do a bylaw change that we're looking to do to allow KRDA, First Park, to make changes and adapt when we have circumstances such as the COVID-19 pandemic where they have voting requirements that have to take place on very specific dates. But we're going to keep pressing forward on that. We did review the financial reports and announced the new real estate agent, which is SVN. They're a nationwide firm, but they have a local Portland office. So hopefully the park itself will receive some good national coverage. Also, we received our payment from First Park that same day for $21,770, which does represent 62% of the reimbursement of our contribution that we send to First Park. That has come a long way. If folks remember what it used to be like, probably even about 10 years ago, we weren't even close to that number. So things are definitely going in the right direction. 2 facilities that were empty had just sold in the park recently, as well as the fact that a new ophthalmologist just opened up, and I believe there's another one slated to be coming in. So things are going well. Also today, Central Maine Growth Council had their meeting via Zoom. We passed their annual budget with municipal contributions for the most part staying the same as last year. We've started discussing expansion of the geographic territories of the FTZ, which is exciting. The FTZ does currently have 3 tenants, which is the foreign trade zone that contribute. They actually pay for the running of the program. The Growth Council is developing a business assistance program with local funding partners for member town businesses. So that's just Fairfield, Waterville, Winslow, and Oakland. So if you know of any business here in the town of Fairfield with less than 20 employees and could use some financial assistance, please have them contact me and we can get them in touch with that program. So Fairfield's in a very unique position, whereas now not only do we have access to the program that the Central Maine Growth Council is offering, but also the program that the Somerset County Economic Community Development Program is doing. So we can certainly help any of our businesses if there is a need. We received word from the project manager of BDS Solar on the solar project that's on Route 201 that's going in behind Derico Engineering. They're looking for skilled workers for their construction phase of their project. We were able to get them in touch with the local electricians union here in town, as well as the Growth Council for workforce development opportunities. But if you know of anybody who may be interested, have them contact us. We can get them in touch with the company. Derico Engineering has finished up the site study at the town farm property. That report will be forthcoming in the next several weeks. We have been using Facebook to promote absentee voting almost every day or every other day. We are sharing and putting out that information. It's important for folks to realize how long it could potentially take here at the polls. The municipal ballot itself is 30 questions long. And with social distancing and being able to use half the voter booth capacity that we've had in the past, it could take some time. And then also town reports are available at the town office. If you're coming just to pick up a town report, please call ahead of time. That way we can meet folks in the parking lot or at a window so nobody has to wait in line just to get a town report. And that is it for me.
Very good. Any questions? All right. Next would be a report from committees.
The Economic Committee did not meet this month because of the holiday, but we will be meeting in August on the first Tuesday at 8:30, right here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The Kennebec Valley Regional Diversity Committee met last week, and they're still working on a declaration, which we will see later on, but they've got it shortened down. I think there's two positions out there that are relatively close, and so they'll have it, and it'll be very short. And I suspect our next meeting we should have a report that we'll be able to discuss and vote on. It's for all the towns of Oakland, Waterville, Fairfield, and Winslow. Anybody else? Anything? Any other committees? No? Okay. Moving on to the fifth order of business, the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion unless a council member requests that the item be removed and acted as a regular action item on the agenda. So item 20-86 would be ordered that the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes of the meeting 2020-13, which was held on June 24th, 2020. Item 2087, which orders that the Town Council hereby approves the Treasurer's Warrant number 77, General Fund, June 30th, 2020, number 1. In the amount of $103,149.30, which is motor vehicle pine tree waste. Warrant number 78, General Fund, June 30th, 2020, in the amount of $24,998.46. Motor vehicle election systems and monthly reports. And warrant number 2, General Fund, on July 8th, 2020, in the amount of $49,382.79, which is a facade reimbursement, audit expense, and motor vehicle.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carries full. Sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business. Item 20-88, ordered that the Town Council hereby considers applicants for appointment to fill one MSAD 49 school board vacancy for a term set to expire on Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. And we have one application.
I make a motion that we accept Rachel Hashi for the school board appointment.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? Yes.
I just sort of update folks, especially if they were watching us last meeting, to let them know that the appointment that was made last week of Mr. Woodbury unfortunately was determined, they notified us the very next morning that he had a conflict of interest because his spouse did actually work for the school district. So unfortunately, he was not able to continue with that position. The conflicts of interest pieces for the school board has been sent to Ms. Hashi, and she has reviewed them and assured me that none of them apply to her. So that, and I think that's one of those pieces that may probably be put in the file that we will do from this point forward when we have a school board appointment, knowing that they have their own separate set of rules as well. And I did speak with the superintendent as well. Her and I played phone tag for a couple of days, but her and I also discussed this, and she wasn't aware of anything either. So you should be good.
And again, I'm very pleased to see a Lawrence graduate stepping up for this position volunteering. So.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Carries full. Ms. Hashi is now school board member. All right, item 20-89. Order that the town council hereby considers and approves the new sewer service charge rates for 2020 to 2021.
So moved for discussion?
No second that?
Discussion. Yes, Stephanie.
Well, let's clarify this so that we're all on the same page here.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, we are short by $59,990 or something
Yeah,
like that.
somewhere in there.
So we have to make that up. So when it comes to putting in the new amounts for the sewer district, anything over the amount that's needed to pay our bill to the sewer district goes where? I know this is redundant, but
No, it's not redundant because it can get confusing. So the town of Fairfield has a sewer enterprise fund, which is the sewer department. That's the budget that's next for you to approve on your agenda. That's the next piece. Okay, so that's for us to pay our staff to run our sewer department. In that budget, there is a line for KSTD, Kennebec Sanitary Treatment District, which is where we have to pay for our sewer to go to be treated. Okay, so they have their own line in there. Their increase in our fee for them to process Fairfield sewer is the reason why we have the shortage. Any money that we collect above and beyond all our expenses, not just KSTD, but the entire enterprise fund's expenses, goes into a special account so that it stays there. It's called the retained earnings account,
okay.
which is basically the same thing as the town's undesignated fund balance. Okay, so when the town collects more revenue than what we expend at the end of the year, that amount goes into the undesignated fund balance.
Okay, so from that point, we know that we have an aging pipe system for sewer.
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons why we have such a big debt to pay for this year. How much then should we be planning for future repairs to the sewer district?
Okay. So there's the way that this works. So the reason for this year's increase was because of the break that happened down on Water Street in Waterville. The town of Fairfield, within its sewer department budget, has two capital reserve funds, one for equipment and one for repair and replace. Okay, we started 3 years ago putting money aside for that account. That covers our pipes in our boundaries. Nothing to do with anything that's KSTD system. KSTD has a capital reserve account for KSTD itself. The reason for this increase was because of the fact that not all of the sanitary district in Waterville, which means Waterville, Winslow, Oakland, and Fairfield, uses the line that broke. The line that broke covers septage that is coming from Benton, Fairfield, and Hootamaki, which is why Fairfield, Benton, and Hootamaki had to pick up the cost of the repair, which was $150,000 right now, and we'll have to pick up the costs. Well, there's conversations about the fact that we will have to pick up the cost of the repair for the permanent repair, which could be in the millions, which should be and is anticipated to be a bond, and therefore you would end up paying a bond payment similar to what we already pay. Now, we have 5 bonds currently for sewer that we already pay, and those payments are in that budget. We also pay sewer bonds half out of the general fund budget. So I don't even know if I answered your question.
You did. The point is, we need to be budgeting more than what is breaking even.
Right.
In order to plan for the future expenses, because this this 59,000 took us kind of by surprise.
It did.
Is there any way to find out the schematics or a plan in the ground? It must be a chart, something, or a picture. All the sewer lines, who ties into each sewer? Because this is down in the shade that burst.
Right.
There must be one line going down next to the shade because it's a little narrow road. So more people must be going into that.
You would think that those plans would exist, but they're not as easy to come by as people think they are. And the biggest reason for it is because of the time frame in which lines were constructed. And oftentimes you find surprise lines that people don't realize where they thought they were supposed to be. So I'm reminded of a story here in town where they were trying to snake a line at one of the local businesses on Main Street, and they kept putting the snake out further and further and further and further, and the next thing they knew, it was coming up another business's stink pipe clear down the street because nobody realized how the pipes had moved.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why, so remember your last meeting, we got the camera system? That's one of the big things and big reasons why we got that, is so that we know where our stuff is and what's broken and what needs to be fixed and how we go about repairing it. And those are the pieces that they're working on. So they do have plans. A lot of what happens with Waterville sewer, now you would think that's the straightest path and that would be the way that it would flow, but because of the way systems were constructed, that determined on how their flow went. So a lot of Waterville's flow goes through the Waterville Sewer District, which is a separate entity, and then they flow downhill to KSTD, that's gravity fed, and not through the pump stations and all those various different pieces. I've had the conversation multiple times, and I am assured all of the time that no, it's strictly us that's running through there and not anybody else. But I haven't actually seen the plans, but I'm sure we can contact them and get them. But that's future conversations, because there's going to be a lot more conversations around the permanent repair to this, and this is something that we are very closely monitoring and watching, whether it be through their minutes or conversations with their director. We're keeping a very close eye on what this impact is going to be to us in the future. So Fairfield has had a long-term history of having sewer rates that were extremely low and not funding its needs for the sewer department. It had operated in the red for a large number of years, and due to the concern of raising rates, they stayed stagnant. So we have raised rates. I think this will be the third time since I've been here in the last 4.5 years, and it's probably more than rates have been raised in the last 15. But we got to a point where our rates were so low, even DEP said we could be penalized for not taking care of our infrastructure. I mean, with the problems that we were having is simply due to neglect, and we can't do that simply because we don't want to have people pay for it. So this piece, so with what has been put together for you for the rates, like we said, you do need to cover the shortfall in the budget, and you can do more than what you need for just the immediate shortfall, especially where you know that you have an issue coming. And also, as I had pointed out, I did send you how much we have in that retained earnings account. So if you think about the fact that your undesignated fund balance, you should have at least 3 months worth of operating. And while a standard 3 months of operating for sewer is $153,000, if you think about one quarterly payment to KSTD plus so if you think about the quarterly payment to KSTD and say the bond payments were due at the same time, that's $271,481. We currently only have $228,921. Now that's not audited numbers, but if you think about the fact that we don't have, say we had to make a KSTD payment and a bond payment with no money coming in, we do not have enough in reserves to even pay those two bills. So that's why we're getting there. But we're certainly not in the negative anymore, which is good. We haven't been in the negative for the last couple of years. So that we are definitely making progress and going forward. And how you choose to go forward after this is up to you.
Michael?
I would like to make a motion to entertain rate increase scenario C3, which is 7350. Is that per thousand?
73.50
And
is the base.
$5 is cubic foot at, I can't read the number. And the $5,
$5 cubic foot.
yes.
I can actually put this up on the screen for you so you can see it. Because we figured out.
Yeah, that does not help.
Sorry.
That's worse than this.
So 73.50.
So overall, it would be an increase of $97,644.
Minus the 59, or say 60, 70, 80, 90, so that gives us like $37,000 a year to put toward, which isn't a lot, but at least it's something to put into the fund balance.
Right.
And by the quarter, it'd be $2.50 more than what people are paying now.
Is that correct?
No, it looks like it's $333 per month or $40 a year. $10 per quarter. Yeah, it's $10. It's a $10 increase. You were at
Okay.
$63.50. So if you go to $73.50, that's a $10 a quarter increase. So that's $333 a month or $40 a year.
Oh, okay. But still, that is not putting us over that threshold by much.
No. So a conversation I started having today was looking at, we have a couple of bonds in sewer that are due to be paid off within the next couple of years. And what would it look like if we tried to look into paying them off early? Their interest rate is still relatively low, and they're through the bond bank, and sometimes you actually can't do an early termination. But by getting rid of some of our bond payments, would that help cover the fact of the bond that we know is coming that we'll probably have to pay with KSTD. Now, there's also other pieces where they're looking at, potentially for some grants or that kind of stuff too. So we're looking at down the road future plans of what can we do to try to save some money and try to keep it so our rates aren't still climbing. But these rates are not astronomical by any means. I know in the town of Clinton, I believe the last time I looked into it, they pay $75 a quarter regardless, whether you use a drop or not. And then anything above X number you have to pay for. And it's been that way for a long time, so that's why I'm thinking, I think they're actually higher than that now. So this really is not a high sewer
Right,
rate.
and that bond is for the breakdown in water bill. That doesn't even include repairs that we need to make in town,
Right.
which is going to be,
Could be.
large dollar value here in a short period of time.
Well, especially as we start cammering.
Yeah.
The funds that you've put away in capital reserves for the last 3 years for the repair and replace, we could start getting there
We could chew that up in a hurry.
real hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have
Is
a
there a
motion on the floor.
Yep. No second.
And a second.
I'm just wondering if we should take a look at 3D, because the quarterly amount
Doesn't change.
doesn't change, but the cubic foot goes up a quarter.
Right. So that's based upon use. So you're basically, the usage will pay more. 5.25. Well, let me hit the right number. There you go. So it does bring it up slightly. And this and like I had said before, with consumption, is based upon the fact that, it's whatever people happen to use during that particular quarter. Some
Right.
quarters are more, some quarters are less.
But it's $13,000 more than scenario 3C.
So that was to put us at the 50, 37, 40, about 50?
It'd be about 15, it's almost half of what we owe and half of what we could save for future repairs.
Right.
And generally, it's not any, we're still at a $10 a quarter increase for people using sewer. No matter what. To me, I would like to say, I want the most bang for the buck here. So, to me, 3D
Would give us a little extra
would
into the
give us more
reserve.
savings without being a bigger detriment to the taxpayer. So, Michael, I would like you to think about maybe changing your motion to 3D.
Is there any way down the road and another fund pertaining to this? Because I know we got solar coming in and other stuff might help us.
Not for this. Maybe, so say the solar project where we do the municipality buys the power, that might save us some money in electricity, but other than pump stations, our utilities aren't that high. in
Are
this.
we receiving anything off, any revenues off the use of the property or?
We do, but those go to the general fund to offset property taxes, not this. This is a
I was
separate.
just wondering if there's any extra stuff out there.
And we certainly can keep that in mind. Sorry, Nora, but I had to mute you.
And would we entertain a friendly amendment to 3D for a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All right. Any more discussion?
And this is also something that's reviewed every year, correct, Michelle?
Correct. We go over this every year when we go
Yeah.
over the budget.
All right.
So for this coming year, we'd be able to save around 50,000 in case
Yep.
there's something wrong with our aging infrastructure. So
In the grand scheme of things, $50 is just a tiny drop in the bucket.
40
Well, whatever the,
per year. yeah.
per year.
For next year. People paying a sewer bill will pay $40 more next year.
Right, but the total that we're getting back,
Right,
we're
with 50,000.
about 50,000, which is just a drop in the bucket compared to what it would cost to replace a sewer
Yes.
line.
Yes.
Read the numbers for 3D, please.
$73.50 for the base rate and $5.25 for consumption.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Carries fully. Now we move on to item 20-90. In order that the town council hereby approves the sewer enterprise budget for fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $671,978 for expenses and $613,690 in projected revenues.
So moved.
Second
Discussion? Questions?
was,
Nothing. Okay. All in favor? All right. Then we go to item 20-91. In order that the town council hereby approves the Crosswords TV budget for fiscal year 20-2021 in the amount of $82,242 for expenses and $94,500 in projected revenues.
So moved.
second,
Discussion. I believe that budget is pretty much covered by the
Franchise fees.
by franchise fees from the
yes.
TV stations, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
technically it's not costing the town.
No, doesn't cost the town any money.
Right.
I did like in the town report, it was nice to see the report from Chad and how people can access the Crossroads TV. So
Yes.
hopefully it'll be utilized more once people have it in writing rather than always just a verbal mention.
Yep, that's correct.
And we also believe that our station will be back to 7 or 11, hopefully by the end of this month, which will be good. Folks will be able to find it easier, and we'll be
Yeah,
able to
I
start.
think in Chad's report, he said channel 11. You know, we'll still say on the other channel too.
Yeah, it will stay on 1301 as well, but
Yeah.
we'll come back down into the lower numbers, so.
All right. Good motion.
You do, in a second.
And a second.
All in favor? Done. Okay. Item dash 20-92, order that the town council hereby signs quitclaim deed for property located at 30 and 1/2 Elm Street to release a 1982-1983 sewer lien.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes.
Just a general
Yes.
question. How far back do we go when people haven't paid their sewer bill before there's a lien put on their residence property?
So, in general, with the sewer bill, just like property taxes, you have a year's time in which to put them to lien, and they mature just the same exact way as property taxes liens do. So in 18 months, if you haven't paid them, then it forecloses. Sewer liens are automatic foreclosing just the same as property taxes are, which is a little bit different because water liens don't have that ability. They don't automatically foreclose. This instance, what you're finding is people are purchasing properties and they're having titles insurance and they're having their titles checked. And so they're going all the way back and they're following all of these old liens. And what happens is you go back so far and you'll find that there was a discharge that wasn't, oftentimes what happens is a discharge that wasn't done correctly. Like, so this is book, oh, it doesn't even say, but like
Right.
the book number could have been off by one.
Yeah.
You know, when it got filed, or somebody misread it or
Okay.
miskeyed it or whatever. And so they find these, and that's what this is, and that's what they were last week. We had a couple of corrections that had to be done. But because it's beyond the foreclosure time frame, those 18 months are up, in order to fix it, you have to do a quick claim deed. You
Right.
can't do a simple discharge.
Right.
Okay, I was just curious because in the town report, there's quite a few sewer
There is
liens.
quite a few.
Yep.
Yes. And sometimes there's a little caveat with sewer liens that if you've worked out a payment arrangement and you've stayed within your arrangement, we also don't foreclose.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Carries full. All right, moving on to item 20-93. Order that the town council hereby signs a quitclaim deed for property located at 17 Winter Street to correct discharge of mortgage dated 11/25/2010, specific to an 11/3/2008 sewer lien discharge.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Carries full. All right, item 20-94. Ordered that the town council hereby considers and nominates a municipal official as candidate for MMA's Legislative Policy Committee.
So moved.
Second.
We need discussion.
I'd like to, Peter's on this committee now, right?
Yes, I am.
Peter, do you want to continue?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Are you going to be able to attend, Peter?
Yes.
Because they're like 4-hour, all-day kind of events, and I
Yes.
know that you've had, it's approximately 10 hours a month during the legislative session.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Because my new job, training ends Friday after 5 months.
So that'll be good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah.
It's been momentous. I'll make a motion that we nominate Peter Lawrence to the Legislative Policy Committee.
Second.
That would be We'd have to change the motion, the original motion.
Oh, we have to.
Oh, we already had a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to?
But just add Peter to the motion.
A friendly
A
amendment?
friendly amendment, yes.
Peter made the
Yes.
motion.
Peter made the motion.
Oh, Peter made the motion.
Okay.
Do you withdraw your motion?
Yes, I do.
Do you withdraw your second?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I will. I will make a motion that we nominate Peter Lawrence to the Legislative Policy Committee for 2020-21. It's a year. Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Abstain? 3-1.
Hey, we got through that.
That's
All
good.
right.
This is a 2-year,
20 and 21.
Yes,
and 22. It's 2.
Oh, that's right, it's 22.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, seventh order of business, which is council workshop and other businesses. The first order of the council workshop and other businesses is to discuss Victor Grange property purchase proposal at 142 Oakland Road.
Well, I was pleased to see the report.
Yes.
I did question whether or not it was just the main floor that was looked at. Did the guy go down in the basement and look at the pipes? But we don't know.
No.
There's nothing there. However, through this report, it meets Maine DEP standards and
That is
can be
correct.
used to acquire permits. So I really think, and plus, the Grange also gave us their 3-year plan on the project.
Right.
And it looks like they'll raise the money, and whatever they raise will be indicative of how much work can be done
Yeah.
on creating the green spot. Michelle, have you heard from the lawyer?
I have, so I sent him what was sent to us by the Grange. He still questioned about whether or not, and that while they had their preliminary plan, it didn't say what they thought, what the cost would be associated with those various different pieces. So as you look towards making sure of financial capacity, or that they've got a solid plan, that this doesn't really meet that expectation. And then for the estimate, for the easement and the survey work and all of that that needs to be done, I need to get him our existing plan of that plot. It's too big for us to scan. So we've been trying to coordinate with KB Cog to scan it for us so we can get him a digital file of that. Because I have a paper copy of the plans that have never been filed anywhere, which is pieced together with a bunch of 8x11 sheets of paper. So I've got to get that scanned and sent to them, so.
So in referring to the cost analysis, they're estimating the removal of the building itself to be a $10,000 venture. What Attorney Lee is saying is we don't have a cost on creating the green spot. Is that what he's missing?
Right, or if you're going to use a parking lot, so the material that needs to be brought in to make it a parking lot, you know, what do those estimates look like in order to make that a usable space once the building is torn down? Because well, even once it comes down, you've got a slab, unless they take the slab, unless the slab removal is part of all of this for the garage, and then the partial foundation that's there in that hole, and is believed to be a septic tank on site, so that would also, you know, is the material to bring that in, is that all covered in this? And then if you're gonna have people park there, you would need material brought in to fix all of that.
Right. In case you didn't realize it, but when the Granges had their programs in the past, they used the green space across the street for parking. And that's really what I envision happening at this spot. So they've given us this, now we want them to give us a more detailed list.
That's what the attorney requested.
Well, just an estimate.
That's just what he said.
Does he
There's no costs.
Seems like we're nitpicking, but.
Yeah.
I mean, they're willing to go through this and work with the town in creating a nice place for the center.
Right.
And now we're, how many hoops do they have to jump through to get this project underway? I think that it's in good faith, they're willing to do this. And how much more do we want them to do?
I'm just wondering too, what's the timeframe with all this information or estimates and things like that is needed?
It did say it was a 3-year plan.
I'm just
Yes.
wondering, what's the timeframe now until
Oh.
the lawyer saying it's just good and the transfer from the property from the town to the Grange?
Do we need to do that?
Sorry. His email says, what is the Grange proof of financial capacity, and where is the estimate of the cost of the work to be done? So, I sent him this document, so maybe he missed the estimate for the removal.
I was gonna say.
So maybe all we need is what do they have that says that they can pay, that they can take care of that. And I know they thought that they had a lot of this that was going to be done with volunteer work.
Yeah. That's absolutely
And that
right.
may be just exactly what you need to prove the financial capacity of it. They had commitments for volunteers and that kind of
And
stuff.
fundraisers, they'll do
Yeah.
fundraisers.
So, and then the other piece of it, as soon as I can get that scanned into them, which I was hoping to have already done by now, but should definitely be within the next week, because Katie Cog is back in office permanently now. They're no longer working at home. We get that done, and then he has to send everything over to his real estate folks, and they'll get back to us with the estimate of what it will all take. So it shouldn't take very long. Hopefully we should have an answer by your next meeting.
Okay.
So,
But and it's gonna be tough to get have them approve an estimate because, like you said, we're talking fundraising, we're talking volunteers and things like that. So what somebody would go in that was just gonna do it and get an estimate from companies as opposed to what they're gonna do is gonna be two totally different.
Yeah, it's not, because A1's, here is July.
Right,
They got the contracts up already,
yeah,
so.
You know, it's,
exactly.
do we want to have Roger at the next meeting?
Roger has his hand raised. He looks like he wants to speak to you.
Oh,
They've been on.
he's not on TV.
He ain't on TV.
He will, I can see him.
Oh.
Unmute yourself,
It's just
Roger,
Nora.
and let him, and once you start talking, he'll come to the front, they'll see you.
Well, the estimate that I got to get the building torn down is what the guy told me that would cover everything to get a flat piece of ground on the property.
Oh, excellent, thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. And Roger, the parking space is a green space, correct? It's not paved?
That's correct.
Yeah.
You know, yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So you're actually,
I really question whether we want to purchase, get this property or not, because the town's got a lot more money than we have. And if you're expecting us to come down and break down all these different jobs that we're going to be doing, it's going to be impossible to do that. So, I guess, I sit here and say, geez, I'm trying to give us a $10,000 bill sitting on us now, and I'm questioning whether it's feasible or not. But the Grange is willing to help the town in any way that we can to get through this. And if the town wants to see fit to give us the land, then we'll work through it. But you're not going to get, you're not going to have a big spreadsheet saying, yeah, we've got thousands and thousands of dollars here. And I just went out and got an estimate from a fellow that says, how much it's going to take us to knock that building down and make that a safe lot. And that's basically our first push. And as we go down the road, then we're going to start prettying it up and trying to make a nice area again. I just don't want you to think that we're going to jump on this and get it done in 6 months. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll get it done. There's no doubt about that. But we will have to. I can't give you any solid numbers.
Right.
All I know, we get a lot of donations. People say, geez, well, yeah, I'll help you out here. Here's $1,000, here's $1,000. And the past 6 months, we've got, I'm just guessing, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 donated to us, for different projects that we're doing. So, somebody may come in and say, hey, yeah, I'll do it all for free. But I can't give you that, right?
Now, is this something that we have to have the attorney approve it and all that, or can we just approve it?
You are not prepared at this point to approve the sale of this until you still need the survey, you need your easement, you need all of your ducks in a row. And like we had told them before, we're going to continue to go forward with all of that, but you still have to approve all of those things to be done because we have to spend that money in order for you to do this. So you're not there yet. You're close. We're getting closer every time, and it's good to know, Roger, that that 10,000 estimate included bringing that back to a flat surface and filling that back in, and not just removing the building. So that's a good piece. And like I said, maybe the attorney didn't see where the cost was actually in all of that, and I will follow back up with Bill on that as well. And then once we get in those pieces, because you still have to approve the survey to be done, the easement to be done, and the paperwork is to be drawn up, and then you vote for the sale when you have all of your pieces together and you've got it all done.
As far as I'm concerned, what we have here from the,
She just jumped ahead, that's
Yeah, you're
okay.
over.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
That's all right. Go
All
ahead.
right. What we have here from the Grange, I think that is good. We're all set. I'm all set with that. We just have to do our part now. And then we'll marry the two together and hopefully it will happen, Roger. So, but that's where I stand. I think that it's very workable.
I will convey that at our next meeting. And like I say, I don't expect to have this done overnight. This is quite an undertaking for us, and but I feel confident we can do the job, get the job done.
Yep.
Yep. I'm sorry for interrupting, Michael.
Oh, that's,
Michael.
that's quite all right.
Okay.
Yeah, Roger, I mean, you had given us, you mentioned 6 months. You had given us a 3-year plan here. I mean, the town council has all along intended on somehow conveying this property to the Grange for them to have more parking area to get rid of that building. We went through a bit of a snafu there where things got a little testy with the report, which I still haven't figured out yet because nothing has changed with the council as far as wanting to get this to the Grange. You have given us a 3-year plan. I think that's reasonable considering the situation that the Grange is in and trying to get volunteers and additional monies. So as soon as we can get our ducks in a row and make sure that we've gotten everything done legally, I see no reason why we won't proceed with making sure that we fulfill a promise that we started years ago.
Yep, I agree.
And I agree.
Me too. Yep.
Any more discussion? All right, we'll move on to our next
Thank you, Roger.
order of
Thank you,
business. Thanks,
Roger.
Roger. All right, discuss ATV access route request. Oh, where did that go? We've been requested to add 2.2 miles of the Green Road to the access system.
Yeah. Michelle, can you tell us what lines are what colors? I had a hard time figuring out which ones were
Wait just a
which.
second, and I might even be able to show it to you.
The in-between color is the ATV road access.
The not-so-dark color?
The not-so-dark color, yes.
Here. Okay.
The green,
The green one.
the green one.
My green one. So this here is CMP's power line.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the current ATV trail. You have the Norwich Walk Road right here. Ohio Hill is here. So you go from the existing trail where it comes across from the Norwich Walk Road or Ohio Hill, up the Green Road and to the CMP current corridor.
All right. Could this change if we go ahead with our plans for development at the
So
Town Farm Road?
I don't see this interfering with any of that at all. And second of all, because it doesn't even go near that. And
Right.
this list of roads is something that the town council has to approve annually.
Okay.
So at any point in time, when we approve a road, especially a new road, you have the right to actually pull back and withdraw that approval. And we always look into it every year when it comes back for renewal in April, just so to make sure that there haven't been a substantial amount of complaints,
I was
that
gonna say
sort
if
of
there's
stuff.
any problems
Yeah.
with it or
Those kind of
anything like
pieces.
that.
I have talked to the public works director and the police chief about this. The police chief did have a few concerns simply because of the fact that there are a couple of pretty big curves out there in that stretch of the Green Road. But of course, if it's properly marked with its speed limit and that sort of stuff, I mean, and like folks have said, people travel it now. But, and while we impose the speed limit for ATVs, it doesn't necessarily mean they follow it, but we do try to hopefully get our game wardens out there to help us make sure that that happens, so.
I think for the most part, they do a fairly good job policing themselves. I know there's probably a few, how do we say, rogue entities that tend to make an attempt to ruin it for other people. I know that was experienced over on the Davis Road, where several of them were doing 45, 50 miles an hour, not allowing cars to even go around them. Rather than slowing down, letting a car pass, they sped up to not allow them to pass. And as long as that's kept to a dull roar, and if it's seen out there and the ATV riders are making it a point to police things and let them know it's not acceptable and it doesn't happen on a regular basis, I don't see a problem approving that for those that do abide by the rules. But keep in mind that, you know, if some of those people decide to not follow the rules and take it upon themselves to ruin it for everybody else, I mean, that is a possibility.
You're right, there are some that do that up to the apple up there in the center of it, about a week ago.
Can you go to the
Yeah, I can.
microphone? Thank you.
And state your name, please. Thank you.
I'm Bob Von Olson, and I live in Fairfield Center. There's a saying, the guy come out of the apple up there in the center, and he come up right on his rear wheels, and we on one wheel, we went around the corner and he come back down. There are some people like that. There's one in the center that does it, but I don't know who it is. I've seen him have a kid on back going down the road with the front up. There's only one that I know of.
So my question is, I don't know anything about ATVs or, how fast do they go?
Oh, it depends on the machine.
Do they go, so these, because it's the Green Road, it's 45 miles, right?
Maybe 25 for
25 for ATVs.
25?
Limited to, it's a recommendation apparently.
Because I saw that same person that you're referring to at the Big Apple do that wheelie thing. I thought he was having an accident. Scared me.
It was scary.
Yeah. So,
And whether or not you approve this extension is not going to stop that behavior.
no, it won't. But my concern is that this is a posted, it is a road. It's not a trail. It is a well-traveled road. And I've got my concerns about this. So,
They do travel the Davis Road fairly regularly as well.
Yeah, the Davis Road is much more traveled than the Green Roads.
Yeah.
They don't have a safety course.
They go up the Canyon Road, do Davis Road,
Yeah.
Six Rod.
don't they have
Six
to be
Rod Road.
licensed to go on a road?
No.
No.
They have,
They don't?
all ATVs have to be licensed.
They have to be
Registered.
Registered.
They have to be
They have to be
registered.
registered.
Yeah.
So
So any ATV has the right to go up to, what is it, 250 feet on any road, anywhere, as long as you're going from trail to trail.
1,500 feet.
1,500 now,
Yeah.
so they have the right to go that anyway if you're going from trail to trail on a road. What this does is this allows us to, the club participates in the fact that they provide the signage, these areas are posted, and hopefully it'll keep them within these particular designated areas. The other piece too is that, like, they're not allowed to be out there until the posters come off the roads in the summer, you know, so this is only through till like the, what is it, the middle of November?
Yeah.
It
There's certain,
stops.
yeah, there's time
It
limits.
stops 1st of November.
Yeah.
All right. And you think it's safe to
Yeah.
do that?
And there's a lot of riders, a lot of towns have opened up
Yeah.
Yep.
all over it, like in Millinocket, not Millinocket, Greenville. They go right down the main street, right through town,
Yeah.
Yeah.
restaurants and stuff. It's a big business up there.
Okay.
Right.
We'll never have it downtown here because we can get the interstate and stuff like that. You can't cross, but
Okay. Well, I'd be willing to try it for the year.
We've been doing the Davis Road now in that area for,
3
what,
years.
3 years.
3 years? I was going to say, yeah, 3 or 4
We haven't really
anyways.
had any big issues.
No issues.
No, like I said, there's a few less than scrupulous entities that tend to push the limits, and
Yeah.
And what goes around comes around, sooner or later it'll catch up to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually does.
Yeah. And the police chief said he thought it'd be okay outside of a few corners. And
So I would entertain a motion to approve the,
yeah.
yes.
This requires a public hearing at another meeting. And
Oh,
and
okay.
notice, they have to pay for the public hearing notice fee and
Oh.
For local?
no.
We had to do it last time because there was state roads involved.
Right, this,
Oh,
so
I
local.
don't think we have to because it's
I
local.
didn't think so,
my
right.
mis-
But we can double check it and just put it on here as an action item for you at your next meeting.
my misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it's just,
I had thought that as well and realized it was.
Okay.
I'd like to get it approved because we're well into July now, and we got a lot of people out there riding.
Do we need a public hearing?
I
No,
can't tell you, I don't think that you do. I mean, we can confirm it if you want to hold on a minute.
Do we have to notify the residents around there that we extended,
Well, if you had the
We
public
haven't
hearing.
had them in the past.
No. I
Right,
think it's
no.
just, I think that public hearing was because it was there was a state road involved,
yes,
Yeah.
and
that is
DOT
correct.
requires a public hearing.
State turned it down.
So
Matter of
there
fact,
are-
though,
Yeah,
3 different times I walked with one of the guys from the state, we were gonna approve it,
Yeah,
and then his superiors shot it down.
yep. We jumped through an awful lot of hoops for them, and they still didn't approve it. Can get this. Wait just 1 minute, I'm bringing up the public safety ordinance.
okay, no problem.
TVs.
One of the things that's been beneficial is, as things have developed, younger riders aren't on the trail by themselves without parents, because of law, they have to be with a parent till they're 16 or something like that.
Yeah,
They do have to go through a safety course before they can get on riding them. But it isn't like it used to be 15, 20 years ago, when anybody could hop on and go do whatever they wanted at any
Right.
age.
well, even longer than that ago, because that was
they had to say,
back when there were three-wheelers.
helmets and the pads
Yeah,
on
they
them?
have to have helmets.
Yeah, but That's been going on quite a while, because I remember back when everything was a three-wheeler.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
you're talking 40 years ago, so.
Yeah.
I've only been in it about 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, yeah.
I had to go get milk up at the Big Apple. And it was a boy, a teenager with no helmet that did that wheelie thing.
Yeah.
And I thought he had lost control and he was tipping over. Boy,
Yeah, they usually only do that about once.
I think he was
Go
more
completely-
experienced.
No.
Going over now.
Yeah, you only do that about once.
Yeah.
Christine, do you know
Particularly
what
without a
section is?
helmet.
Is it on that section for their packet?
No,
Food trucks.
We've been pretty fortunate, in the springtime, that you have mud season.
Yeah.
And we haven't had people running trails when they've been closed. We've had more trouble with young people with four-wheel drive pickups running trails
Right.
in the
You
spring.
have
Trying to
anyone,
run.
anyone using gators or just the four-wheel? They don't use like the gators or the other vehicles on it?
No.
Okay.
It's just four-wheelers.
Okay.
They're defined by the state.
Yeah.
Up to a 65-inch width limit now.
And what is your name, sir?
Robert Vaughn Olson.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And you know where I live?
No.
If you go by the Apple,
Yeah.
go by the Davis Road, and it's the third place on the left. I have a long green roof on my garage, and I just built another building down back
Okay.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of people traveling the road this year for four-wheelers, more than there has been in a lot of years.
Wow.
That's better than sitting at home.
They're home, they gotta do something.
Well, and plus they're outside.
Right.
What, you can't read a book outside anymore?
Well, it gives people a chance to do something. It could be a family event.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only need a public hearing if it's a state road. They're fine.
Okay.
All right.
my mistake.
Because we did a public hearing for when it was the DOT streets, and when DOT disapproved it the last time, which was back in 2018, we just simply came back and council looked to approve the roads that were municipal roads and not the state.
I would be willing to entertain a motion. That's okay.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay. I'll make a motion that the Central Maine ATV Club gain access to the 2.2 miles on the Green Road, ending where the CMP power line crosses the Green Road, to extend their trail system.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Carries unanimously.
And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And you talked about donations. We had about between $3,000 and $4,000 donations to the club. Like
Yep.
Grange, as we had an article last year.
That's good.
Nice.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. See you next year.
You got it.
Okay, third action of seventh order of business is discuss the Crawford Fund. Mr. T.
I had met with the principal at Lawrence High School, and I had a good conversation with him and his assistant, and they were quite adamant that this budget was more than adequate for their requirements for this year. I did let them know, should anything go terribly awry or something get destroyed or blow up or accidentally get run over by a bus, to contact me, and then I would bring that back to the council for release of additional funds to cover things of that nature. But this was the budget that they said this was more than adequate for what they needed, and I argued with them, but to no avail, and this is a number that stands.
What if there's no possibility, no fall schedule, no school?
Then any undesignated monies goes directly to instrument purchase. Which has been basically a standing deal with them since
Right.
for quite a few years now. Some of the monies was used to, let's see, no, they do have the uniforms in there for the cleaning and stuff like that in there
Right.
now, so any additional monies that are left over goes directly to instrument purchase.
Well, actually, it says that right at the bottom of this request.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yep.
Yep.
It's got 2 asterisks.
Yep.
Entertain a motion.
We can, I suppose, can't we?
You could. I would actually recommend that you wait until after we have our town meeting next week and make sure we actually have a fiscal budget in place before you. I mean, I guess you don't have to. This is
I was going to say, this comes out of Crawford
in
Fund.
that.
Has nothing to do with the town budget.
We don't usually issue them the funds until your second meeting in July. But there's no reason why you can't approve it now and not have to have it on your next agenda.
Up to you guys.
Don't look at me, I facilitated this, so...
For me, it's like, and I'll agree with the town manager, I think we should wait until after the vote. There's so many ifs right now with the way things are with COVID and school starting up and...
Oh, this money's already allocated. We've already made the money. It's
money's
sitting in
there.
the money's sitting in an account.
So it wouldn't hurt to wait then, would it?
Wouldn't hurt to do it now, wouldn't hurt to wait. It doesn't, if we do it now or if we wait, nothing changes. The money's
there.
Money's just sitting there. It's sitting on the table, whether we give it away tonight or we give it away in 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. You want to wait 2 weeks? That's fine. They're not in any rush to get it, I don't believe.
They're still waiting for just this off long.
Well, I'll make a motion that we expend $21,250 from the Crawford Fund for the school year of 2020-21 for the music department, for the marching band, the symphonic band, the pep band, the jazz band, and any summer camp tuition that will be available.
Second.
Any more discussion on rubber bands?
Rubber band?
Yes.
I just wanted to remind folks just exactly how much they were eligible for this year. So they were actually eligible for $97,057.55.
Yeah.
So this $21,250 is a very small piece of that.
Yep.
Which was really good considering the fact that last year we had a year where the fund had failed so miserably that they weren't eligible for anything. So by not spending all that they were eligible for this year could certainly be to their benefit in the future. So that was good.
Yep, it's all to their benefit, which is much better than it was a few years ago when it was
Yeah, yes.
Well, we don't know what it looks
When
like
there
right
wasn't
now.
any, minimal.
Yep. All right, any more discussion? All in favor? Abstain? 3-1. Discuss other council business is our next order of business.
I was just wondering when we want to start in on the comprehensive plan again. I know it has to do with the History House. Do we want to wait?
I had a conversation with Kevin Violet. He wants to wait. They're more than happy to come in and have a
Right.
conversation, but they would really like to wait until it's safer for them to come and physically meet with you at a meeting. So what I was planning on doing is actually putting your second round of the comprehensive plan on your agenda for discussion for your next meeting. So we'll keep, we know that we're going to go back to the first piece with the Historical Society, but keep moving forward, and I was going to move on to section number 2 for your next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, anything?
I'm all set at this time.
Peter?
I'm just wondering, I have a question for the town manager about I know last year we elected this cell tower company come in behind the Public Works. I'm just wondering how that project going, or has it stalled, or they need to, I know it's been over a year. Do they need to
So they had 18 months for their first option, and then if they didn't construct within the 18 months, they had the option to renew. What we have been told, it's funny you mentioned it, because we actually have a phone call into them. We were thinking that they actually owed us a payment, and they didn't. They have paid us exactly what they were supposed to. They paid us as soon as we had signed the lease with them. They paid us $1,300, which carried them for the 18 months or until construction was completed. We have been told that there's still plans to build a tower there. The issue is that there's currently plans to build, I think it's like 100 towers in the state of Maine right now, and they are just,
I'm trying to think
they're on the
of what
list.
company it was.
US Cellular.
You sell.
And they just, didn't they just merged with T-Mobile, I believe.
Sprint and T-Mobile merged,
Yeah.
not US Cellular.
It was too.
No,
Okay, yeah,
Sprint.
you're right.
I was just curious, because I know there was a cell company that is downsizing, that's why. I don't know which one it was, but.
And there's also Verizon is supposed to build one downtown on top of the Masons building as well, and that still hasn't been constructed yet
Yeah,
either.
Right, because actually, for, I think any of them, the reception downtown here is very poor.
So for the last week, I've been on roaming, and I can't figure out why. I don't know if something happened to one of their towers somewhere or not, but it's, the coverage right now is deplorable.
You need to go on Wi-Fi.
I am when I'm in a building.
That's right.
Okay, next question is too, is I know before the COVID in March, there was, you guys were in discussion with the public work contract. Is that still going to happen, or?
Yes, so that's still in discussion. So the negotiating team has come up with what their counter is going to be for the original offer, and that is going back to them. So because of technology inefficiencies, Zoom meetings have not been real good, well received for that process, but we are ready to give them, I'm just going to electronically send them our offer and go from there. Because I would like to get that contract, quite frankly, taken care of before we start the police contract, which we haven't started.
Okay, that's the next question too.
Yeah, we haven't even received notification to negotiate.
All right.
Right.
No, I just want to mention too, next Tuesday is the vote. Voting, and it's every resident's right to come out to vote, and just make your voice known and things like that, how you feel, and it's your constitutional right to vote, have a say.
And it'll be good to vote because they'll be voting on the town budget also, which is important, and the school budget.
Yeah. And that's it.
And I have really, I don't think anything that's, you guys have covered pretty much everything that's going on. I know a lot of people have a discussion on the paving aspect. Is there any time frame on that, Michelle? Because I know everything is messed up, so.
For paving,
Yeah.
well,
I'm just time-wise.
we can't pave or schedule anything for paving until we have a budget that's passed.
Gotcha, okay.
Except for the Western Ave Savage Street project.
Yeah.
That's a town DOT project, and we actually have the funds already in our undesignated fund balance to cover that. That was tentatively scheduled to start Monday, this past Monday.
Oh, okay.
And we are currently trying to figure out what happened with that schedule. So we have calls in to various different individuals, but I'm sure
Okay.
that'll be starting soon.
Because I know they did down Western Avenue into Center Street.
So that was DOT.
I know DOT, I saw that. Are they going to come back or leave
No,
that?
that's done.
And leave that
That's done.
racing track?
Leave the center strip down.
Which is,
Yep.
That's done.
looks awful.
It does. It looks
It
terrible.
looks terrible.
Yeah.
We agree.
But it drives
That's
nice.
to me.
But it drives nice, though.
what sections they did drive nice.
Yeah.
Right,
Did do it.
yes.
So-
So what that is that is a Band-Aid to get the road by and help hold it together, because it's technically on the list to be scheduled for construction in 21 or 22, so it's like next year or the year
Okay.
after.
And also too,
But it does, it looks deplorable, but it doesn't, we drive on it, it
and also
doesn't.
too up around CMP building, they get the marks there for the not the sewer,
There's natural gas. They've come
Natural
by
gas.
and put up, we have a flag on the lawn
I don't know
now.
why they pave it, tear it up, and repave again. I don't know why you just don't dig it
Well-
up, then pave it.
Even at the end of Center Road, they've got all these markings and a white dotted line around a rough patch and
So most of the times when you see that, it's because of the fact, so the white usually indicates the area that they've marked out for dig safe. So something's gonna happen. So dig safe is going to send the report out to all the various different utilities. And then each individual colored spray paint represents a different utility.
right.
So,
But it's like
It
they,
always happens. They pave it, they gotta dig it, and
looks like
refill that in
they,
again.
yeah.
I can't figure out, they started out on 139 just before my place and went clear to Norwich Walk. On the best part of the road, there
Yeah.
was nothing wrong, I mean, very little wrong with that.
Yep.
And then from Hebert Lane back to the center, the road is horrible. I mean, there's 8-10 inch potholes in there, it's cracked open, I mean, it's pavement's falling out, and nothing. I'm trying to follow their logic, their thought process on why they did it the way they did.
I'm sure they have one, but it might take you a bit to try to follow through.
Okay.
The same thing. So usually it all depends on what they have for up and coming projects and what they're planning to do. But if you remember, there were a bunch of issues with the DOT bonds a couple of years ago, and it threw a huge monkey wrench into all of their various paving plans. And stuff that were on the list to be done were pulled, and now they're struggling to bring it back because DOT actually plans its projects almost 5 and 6 years out. I mean, they're out there. So if you get thrown off and it's your year, there's a very good possibility if you're not enough of a priority, you might not make it back in for a while because the stuff that's coming behind you is a priority. So it gets to be kind of tricky. And then when they have jobs that don't always take all the money they think they're going to take, then they'll spend them someplace else. So we begged for 2 months for them to fix the Main Street Western Ave intersection down here in town. To get them to do absolutely anything they could for us because we were doing absolutely nothing but chasing that with coal patch and have for the last year and a half. And it was just ridiculous because it didn't matter. No sooner would you put it in, it would bounce right back out again. So the fact that they came and did just that one little bit was amazing. So,
And I think that's why it's longer on one side than the other, because that tire went down here.
it was probably why. He only had so much.
Oh, I mean, if you go out 139 headed toward Norwich Walk, there's this piece here, and then you'll go for, then there's a new piece, and both sides, either side of the road. I mean, there's no,
But I will tell you, DOT has done a wonderful job on the ditches on the Oakland Road. We went by today, and it's beautiful.
Isn't.
And they've even put the big rocks at the gullies there for the road there.
oh.
It really, drive by, it looks really nice. So that's a big plus. The tower, on the other hand,
Hopefully they'll be back again. Just not, it won't be this year.
it won't be this year.
All right, okay, the next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020, to be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in the council chambers at 6:30 p.m. Eighth order of business is executive session. There is none. Pardon?
Reese's? Oh, recess.
Recess to
We
sign.
don't, oh,
Battery or stuff for you to sign.
okay, all right. Then we will need,
I'll make a motion that we go into recess.
Second.
Sign papers.
okay, to sign checks.
Sign checks.